In this video, we are going to compare two USB microphones, the Elgato Wave 3 and the Deity VO-7U. Hi, it's V and welcome back to Blue Ties Productions. In this vlog/review video, we will be comparing two USB microphones. But first, you may be wondering, why am I even dressed like this? Earlier today, my husband and I participated in a sleep study at Hawkins Laboratory, and it was quite the experience. And that's all I'm going to tell you because I am not going to spoil it any further for you. It's actually an immersive experience based on the Netflix series Stranger Things. By the time you watch this video, it may still be open or it may have already closed. The experience will close on September 4th, 2022. So if you happen to be a fan of Stranger Things and you're in the Brooklyn, New York area, please consider checking it out. I'll put the link in the description below. Now, Stranger Things experience did not pay me or did not incentivize me to give them a shout out or anything. Figured I'd just explain why I'm dressed like this. It's a great experience. It was really cute. It's really cool to see all of the references from the period that it was targeted for. So why not participate in the experience with appropriate attire? Now that that's out of the way, let's quickly go over our microphone setups for this review. I am recording my A-roll using the GoPro Hero 9. There are multiple microphones set up for my GoPro. Right now you're listening to the Rode Wireless Go 2. My B-roll is recorded by the iPhone 12 mini. There are no external microphones connected to the iPhone 12 mini, so the audio that you would hear from the B-roll is the built-in microphone as is in my studio, which is a very untreated space. There's a lot of sound bouncing off the walls. There's really not a lot of things that could absorb the sound from reflecting off the walls. So just to kind of give you a realistic setup for most folks at home. So which two USB microphones are we going to test today? The first one you may already see in the shot is the Deity VO-7U. It is currently attached to a desktop tripod mount and its foam pop filter is attached. The second USB microphone is going to be the Elgato Wave 3. This is the very first USB microphone that I purchased, and I've been using this for my work conference calls daily. Please excuse that I'm going to be handling a lot of this by hand because normally it would be attached to a boom arm in my office, but because I wanted to perform this review in the studio, a very untreated space, I had to detach the Elgato microphone from the boom arm. I will be very gentle with it so that the microphone doesn't pick up a lot of handling noise. It too has its own pop filter that's already attached to it and its own kind of shock mount. In terms of how I am routing the audio from these two USB mics to my computer, the USB cable that I'm using with the Deity came with it. The USB cable that I'm using with the Elgato Wave 3 unfortunately did not come with it. It only came with a USB-C to USB-A. I purchased a separate USB-C to USB-C cable. That way I have something ready to go when I use it with my MacBook Pro. I have used this cable with the Elgato Wave 3 a lot, so I am perfectly confident that we're not going to be introducing any kind of new variables into this test because I'm using a completely different cable from what came in the box. With all of that said, let's play you some audio tests. Hi, this is V and welcome back to Blue Ties Productions. You're listening to one of the USB microphones that we are testing today. I am recording this audio using the Voice Memo app in my MacBook Pro. There are no VST plugins or EQ applied to this sample. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, this is V and welcome back to Blue Ties Productions. You are listening to one of the USB microphones that we are testing today. I am recording this audio using the Voice Memos app in my MacBook Pro. There are no VST plugins or EQ applied to this sample. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, this is Fee and welcome back to Blue Ties Productions. You're listening to one of the USB microphones that we are testing today. I am recording this audio using the Voice Memo app in my MacBook Pro. There are no VST plugins or EQ applied to this sample. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Hi, this is V and welcome back to Blue Ties Productions. You are listening to one of the USB microphones that we are testing today. I am recording this audio using the Voice Memos app in my MacBook Pro. There are no VST plugins or EQ applied to this sample. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you are listening one last time to the Deity VO-7U dynamic USB microphone. How did those audio samples sound for you? I don't want to bias or influence your decision if you're considering purchasing USB microphones, especially between these two vendors and two models. But I hate to say, I've been having a lot more trouble using the Deity USB microphone. I won't go into the details of how I've used it. In an effort to keep this concise, I'll just quickly summarize what I've experienced. In terms of work conference calls, primarily using two applications, Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx. When I'm using the Deity USB microphone, mid-sentence, sometimes the audio sounds like it would lower in volume and then go up in volume. I have made sure that the Microsoft Sound settings, the audio enhancements have all been disabled. I have also made sure that in both Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx, their audio enhancements has been disabled. And the only thing that I probably didn't test at the time that later on I found out could be a problem was that by routing this Deity as an input mic through the Wavelink software, that maybe it was not compatible with the Wavelink software. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to be able to monitor my own audio, and I was more comfortable using the Wavelink software to monitor than using the built-in monitor. In terms of today's audio tests, I've only shared one of the two audio tests with you because the one using the Voice Memos application to record the audio is by far the cleanest and most consistent audio that I can produce for you. This time I'm recording this audio using a vendor neutral application. It's Groundcontrol CASTER by Ginger Audio. I'm slowly learning this application, so this is very new to me, but I've finally figured out some sort of settings that are compatible with the Deity USB microphone. Right now, the microphone input volume in the macOS settings is set to 75%. The gain knob on this microphone is set to level 5.5. Now, there is a built-in limiter in this Deity microphone. I don't remember if it was above 5 or above 6, but I'm not getting the distortion issue that I got with my very first attempt for this test when I had the gain knob set at level 8. So maybe it was too hot for the capsule and it was distorting the sound. However, I had that same setting, the gain knob of level 8, when I used it for my work conference calls using Microsoft Teams. And the audio was a lot quieter. It was basically softer, and I had to use the gain knob setting at level 8 to get to an appropriate level where it sounded just like my Elgato Wave 3 for work calls. So there's definitely a difference in terms of when the Deity is connected to one application over another, that there's definitely still a learning curve when you're setting up USB microphones of any kind. In terms of what it means for plug and play, I'm not sure what Deity as a company had in mind, but for me personally, I've been struggling more with the Deity setup than I am with the Elgato Wave 3 setup. In this video, you should see that I'm switching the audio sources between the mic input as it is being recorded directly by Groundcontrol CASTER and the CASTER stream. So what seems to be really cool about Ginger Audio's new software application is that it has its own built-in recorder, and it records all of your input tracks separately from the stream output track. So let's say you have 2, 3, or 4 input tracks set up. It will give you that many MP3 files plus the CASTER stream MP3 file. So it's pretty neat. Initially, I was trying to do this test and kind of have both microphones on one stream, but because it was so distorted, I had to basically trash all of those test files. And I don't know how this sounds right now. I'm in an untreated room with the AC just kicking in. So the vent is actually to my left side and it's kind of blowing air this way. So I'm also not monitoring myself to see if that is causing some audio distortion that I was experiencing in my very, very first test with the gain level set at 8. So I hope this helps a little bit with your decision if you're considering Deity VO-7U as your USB microphone. Do I recommend it? I'm not sure. I like the concept of using a dynamic microphone over a condenser microphone because we know condensers are a lot more sensitive with sound pickup, that any kind of sound reflections bouncing off of walls will make it right into the microphone. For some reason, I'm having a better time setting up the Elgato Wave 3 than I am with the Deity. So maybe it's my learning curve personally. I'm not an audio professional. Maybe it's the different applications that I'm using it with. Some may be more compatible than others. But part of my hesitation in outright recommending this Deity microphone is because if I'm getting an inconsistent experience within my house, I don't know what the receiving user will get once you've considered internet speed, bandwidth, jitter, all of those variables that come into play when it comes to work conference calls. I can't guarantee that the audio will be as the same as what I'm hearing in my monitors. So